Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Perfect, perfect.
Good morning, ma'am. This is Dr. Maithili.
Oh, thank you so much, Maithili. I'm so sorry for all the confusion.
No problem, no problem. Ma'am, we can start, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Nitya, ma'am?
Okay, my detail is okay. We give introduction to our today's students. Okay, very warm good morning. I am Nitya, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology, KSRCT College of Technology. I am very proud to introduce today's session Chief Guest Dr. Anuradha Dhanasekaran. She is working in Center of Biotechnology, Anna University, Chennai, Tamilnadu. Previously, she worked as Director, Associate Professor, Assistant Professor, Center for Biotechnology, Anna University, Chennai, and Deputy Director, Center for Integration, Anna University, Chennai. She has completed MSc Biochemistry in the year 1990, MPhil Biochemistry in the year 1991, and PhD Biochemistry in the year 1995 at University of Madras, Chennai. She has been at PhD in the period of 2002 to 2009, Japan during the year of 1998 to 2001, and Germany 1997 to 1998 for postdoctoral experience. And she has visited countries like USA, Belgium, UK, Nigeria, China, Germany, and Italy for visiting faculty, research collaboration, university representative. Her area of expertise are tissue engineering, angiogenesis, cell signaling, hypoxia, stem cell technology, cardiovascular
Voice
therapy,
is breaking.
and cancer biology.
You can.
She has received various awards and honors such as Professor M. Viswanathan Honor Award in the year 2000, Best Researcher Award in the year of 2015, Most Cited Paper Award in 2005 to 2007, and Best Presentation Award in the year 2005, etc. She has been member and held position in professional bodies at various places in and around the world. She has guided 7 PhD scholars, 4 MS by research scholars, 26 MA MTech students, 3 postdoctoral fellows, and now at present she was guiding 7 PhD scholars, 3 MSc by research scholars, and 4 ME MTech students. She has been presented her research work as invited to various national and international conference seminars and symposium around the world. She has published 62 research papers in national and international peer-reviewed journals. Here I thank the management College of Technology, Nature Science Foundation for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Now I have Dr. Anuradha Dhanasekaran.
जितना होता था उतना तो कट कर ले कहीं सर मैं बहुत डालते हैं लगता बोल रहे
Some of the participants have switched on their mic. I request the participants to switch off their mics. I request the participants, other participants, to switch off their mics so that the session can start.
Very good morning to all of you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, thank you so much. A very good morning to all of you. I'm sorry for this 10-minute delay. That's because of my ignorance to understand this Microsoft app. So during this testing times, during since the lockdown started, I have been doing a lot of webinars. I've been conducting and also being a resource person in various webinars. So Microsoft app, this is my first, experience with Microsoft app. So it took a little bit of time, and I have an Apple and it didn't work with Microsoft. So we had to switch over to HP, and so all this confusion now. Anyways, So first, I would like to congratulate the team from KSR and other participants who are actively participating in this webinar for and utilizing the time very efficiently. So I'm really thankful to all of you for giving me this opportunity. I also have a disclaimer to do that this is my first non-scientific talk that I have ever delivered. So all the time I have delivered only research work that is going on, and anything connected to research, like including data and interpretation and stuff like that. But this is my first non-scientific talk that I would be giving today. So um, when Dr. Ponmurugan approached me and he asked me about to give a lecture for research methodology, so I was just wondering on what I have to speak. And then I knew whenever there's a workshop on research methodology, I'm sure a lot of people would have spoken about IPR and how to do a patent and how to write a good proposal and how to publish in great papers and so on and so forth. So I thought I should just talk about research per se, research itself, and why do we do research, whether we want to pursue it as a profession, or is it a passion that we want to do research? Is it that I like to do research and I want to do research? So what is that, and what works and what doesn't work, whether passion sustains or profession sustains? So all these are questions in today's life, and that is what I'm going to be talking about. I have a disclaimer again. This is nothing to do with anybody. I'm just giving my opinion. I have had 30 years of research experience in various countries. I have seen research the way it is in various labs, various mentors, various students. I have completed 8 PhDs, and I am guiding right now 6 PhDs. And I have the highest number currently that I have sent out of my lab. Like I have sent 5 PhD students out of my lab. So that I'm just telling you all this to give you an insight into my kind of attitude or my kind of passion towards research. So with this, I will just go on. This is not to hurt anybody or talk about anybody's way of methodology or anything. Nobody is good, nobody is bad. It's only in the perception that they have towards research. So that is what I'll be talking. And whatever I'm saying today is based on all my experience, what I have seen, what I have gone through, and what I have done. So let's take it in the lighter mode and let's move on. So how do I move my next slide? Okay. So I asked whether the research is a passion or whether research is a profession. So when I looked up at the dictionary, okay, what is passion? So it said strong or extravagant fondness or desire for anything. And what is profession? So it's following an occupation as a means of livelihood or gain. So if it is a profession, you're doing it for a purpose. You are doing it because you're getting something back. So that what is differentiating a passion versus profession. And when I'm saying you're getting back something back, it is not just happiness, it is not just emotions, it's not just feeling, but it's a sense of materialistic things. It is something that you're getting back in exchange of what you're performing, in exchange for the duties you're doing. So that is what is differentiating between a profession and passion. I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, all the research that is conducted right now, I don't think anybody is doing it just for the love of it, but everybody is looking for returns. So where is the question of passion, right? So to take it further, to define it in one word, I would say passion is boundless enthusiasm and ecstasy. So when I'm saying boundless enthusiasm, still when you are getting back something in return. When you're getting back, say a paycheck, or you're getting back something materialistic back, still you can go about with your boundless enthusiasm and ecstasy. And when you're just looking at it as a profession, it is only going to be a paid occupation. Okay, I'm going to be here from 9 to 4 and I'm getting this paycheck and that's it. So that is the basic difference: pursuing research with either passion, which is again boundless enthusiasm, or I'm just doing it as a profession. I'm just looking at my promotions, I'm just looking at my basic requirements, what I have to do as a teacher or a professor or a researcher, and that's about it. So let's move on and see what I have to say. So why do we pursue research in the first place? So most of us, the desire is to get a research degree and a desire to face challenges in solving problems. I would think, okay, this environment is so polluted. Let me clean the environment. That kind of thing. So I take it as a challenge to make the air of Tamil Nadu very clean, or I take it as a challenge to clean the air of Delhi. So that kind of challenges in solving problems will also lead to a pursuit in research. Or you can get some intellectual joy. I keep reading these and I feel intellectual. I am an intellectual, so I want to do research. Or you can be of any service to society. As I said, okay, there is water scarcity in Chennai. Let me go desalinate the seawater and bring water to all the residents. I want to do some service to society. I'm sitting here useless. Let me promote something. So that is service to society, which is very rare. And then a desire to get responsibility. I want to be responsible, do something, and then stuff like that. Or desire to balance with peers. My friend who did MSc with me, she's now a PhD. Now I have to do a PhD, or he's a PhD, I have to do a PhD. Or in a typical college setup right now, if you look at all the colleges, academia, universities, so there are assistant professors and others, or temporary teaching faculty, who all have a master's. And then now, and what is the next step? Now I need promotion. I need to go to the next step. All my other peers are PhDs. Now I have to do a PhD. Okay, let me do research. So that is one population. And then desire to climb the ladder. So I am an associate professor. I'm an assistant professor. I want to climb the ladder. I want to go to the next level. So I want to do research. So these are basically the points that are required to do a PhD, the points that lets a person pursue research. Out of this, there are very few points, I would say, like service to society and solving problems. There are very few chances that people want to do research for these two things. I might sound very rude, but that is realistic. No, we have to accept terms to be realistic. I wouldn't say that all of them are materialistic. All of them want to climb up the ladder, and that's why they do research. There are people who want to do service to the society and are doing research. There's no doubt about it. But I'm only talking about the majority of the people, and I'm only talking about people, including me. So I'm only talking about the people who are doing research. But I would say that the research, when you call it as a research, what is research? It is just the distance between an idea. You have an idea, you think that, okay, exactly when I'm setting the same example, I want to desalinate water, seawater, into potable water. And how, so the distance between that idea and its realization, the day when I'm going to do this, the day when I can get clean water, potable water, that I can get from seawater. So that is the realization. So the research is the distance between the idea when it's formed in your mind when it can actually be realized is called the research. So now the research process itself has a lot of components. I'm sure in your research methodology workshop, you would have gone through all this. But just to put it in a nutshell, you have to get started. understand the assignment or have specific objectives, and then you gather information from all you have the guiding question in your mind. How do I do this? How do I do this? And then you collect all the information, you gather information, you read papers, you meet people, you network with people, and then you gather all the information, and then you contribute. You get all the data, you analyze the data, and then you present your findings. And then when you present your findings, people accept it, people reject it, and you come with the solution, you do not come with the solution. So, but this whole process is a research process. All right. So how many of us are willing to get into this research process is the question. And whether we are doing it with passion or we are just doing it as a profession is another question. So in this process, we need all these different components. We need sincerity. We got to be sincere. We need to have integrity. We have to have reliability. We should have a commitment towards the research process. We have competence, and we should have consistency. So, is that a question or is someone's mic? So, these are all the different. These are all the different components of trust that we need on ourselves. We need all these trust, sincerity, and reliability, commitment, integrity. If I am a supervisor, if I am a guide, I need all this in me first, and I follow. I have to. I have to follow what I preach, and then I expect the same thing in my students as well. I expect the same thing in all the researchers as well. So these are the components, important components that are required, the reliability and competence and integrity and sincerity and all these things to in a person who carries on research. And then I would say, yes, he has passion for research. So to have the passion, first of all, we need good skills in ourselves. We should have the spirit in our body and mind and the right emotions, and always have the confidence. Have the confidence that I can heal myself. I can be organized. I have the potential to do this research. I will be sincere. I will be competent. I will be consistent. So all these characters should be inside you to have the passion in research. So research by itself is a product of passion. It is not just like putting two things together and creating culminating into something, but it's an amalgamation of passion. If there is passion, there is good research. If there is no passion, there is no good research. So that is the end of the story. So that is as simple as that. But so there are 4 P's that are very important at this point. So one is purpose. So why do you have to do research? And then do you have the passion? Do you have the have the skills? Do you have the energy to do the thing? And do you have the if you have the if you're a group leader or your faculty to guide these people to show that this is what good research is about. And do you have the positivity? You should have the positivity. A person who's very pessimistic will never ever end up with good results. You should always be positive about any research. At the end of the day, you get negative results, it's fine. You never have to have positive results all the time. But the energy in you, the positivity in you should always be there, that yes, I will reach my goals. I will have these aims and I know what to do. The happiness, the work climate is very, the work climate in any lab is very important. So always have a good relationship with your juniors. So that way you can move on with your work as smoothly as possible. I'm not saying, you should, darling, you're the best, you're the fantastic person ever. Even I scold they don't perform well. As I told you, I have sent a lot of PhD students out. I observe them for a year. I know what they work, what they do. If they are good, if they're bad in the language, I'm totally fine with it. If they are not getting the proper results, I'm totally fine with it. If they, do those kind of things, I'm totally okay. But if they are not sincere, if they are not truthful, if they don't, that is where I cannot stand. So I cannot compromise on those things. But at the same time, you have to be very supportive for them positive energy. And you cannot say, you're useless saying that, then whatever little confidence they have, the passion, the purpose, why do I have my lab, whole of my lab, what I'm going to see at the end of the day, the money that I'm putting in is it going to be worth, and navigate them, try to guide them the right direction, and then be positive about everything. So your body, mind, heart, spirit, everything should be in one answerable to the society, and you should be in a very good there inside you, should always be there inside you to do your research. And whenever you have passion, it is not just in research. I'm talking about, just think about anything, wherever, whichever field, whether it is being an artist, being a singer, being a musician, being anything, you be anything, but only if you can. And when I'm saying, this aroma, you have passion, you lead to success. Just having passion will not lead you to success. You need passion. Bedroom and or in your couch, and then you say, oh, I have this passion to be a artist, or I have a passion to be a researcher, and you be sitting in your couch. It's not going to lead to success. Passion is one of the factors that you need to reach success, but passion has to be hand in hand with hard work, and then only it can be. And you small no, this also cannot always be true. So why did I say that? So many cases, many times, you can be passionate and you can work, but still you cannot be. A typical example would be cancer therapy. Millions of cancer researchers are working with full passion. Absolutely. Day and night. You're working. Hard working. Many people don't even go home. They don't sleep. They don't get proper sleep. They live in the labs. Much of hard work that nobody else can ever do. But still, we cannot. They are looking into various options. They have passion for it. They have hard work for it, and still they are not able to see success. Probably it will come a little later, but I'm never saying you will never be successful. But to be successful, you need passion. But if you're always passionate, it doesn't mean that you'll always be successful. Passion can also lead to failure. So that also we should keep in mind. So that is why I'm saying that you should be having the right spirit, right body, right mind. Mind is very, very important. Mind is very, very important. So your mind should treat success and failure equally, in research especially. About 80% of your research can go to the trash. That is only 80% of your research can be worthwhile. But you should be willing to take that fact that 80% of your research can, go the trash. Everybody works hard. It doesn't mean everything comes easily. if it is good research. That's what I mean. Again, I underline, if it is good research. If it is good research, everybody goes through hard work. I had a student, so she was a medical student and she was doing research under my guidance. And so she used to come to the lab every day and do research. So in USA, like if you're a doctor, it is compulsory that you have to do 1 year of research in any lab. So like that, every year we used to get a lot of medical students. So she was one among them, and she would run the Western. So I would train her so much, and she's a very nice girl, very intelligent. She would run the Western blots. I don't know if there are non-science people, if they would understand, but it's an experiment. And you expect to see protein bands in the blot that you do, in the gel that you run. And then you run a gel, and then you transfer the proteins in the gel to a membrane. And then when you visualize, you will see the proteins on the membrane. So this is a day-to-day experiment that we do. So if you're looking at any transcription factor expression or anything, for any experiment, you will, this is an everyday job, like how you make rice and eat at home, or chapati or whatever. So it's like an everyday job in the lab. You run a Western blot because you are working on transcription factors or looking at the expression of proteins. When you're in that kind of lab, this Western blot is a daily routine. So when I was training her, so she knows the process of this, and then she meticulously would do the experiment. And then at the end of the day, by 6 p.m., she would, wash the blot and she look at it, and there won't be any proteins. There would have, even though meticulously she's followed all the rules, it is not, she will not see the result. So the minute she doesn't see any result, she'll be like, I'm a loser. My life is a waste. So I'll be so scared that, she'll jump it was in the 7th floor or something. I would be so scared that she'll jump from the 7th floor and, fall down or something, because she'll be so upset. Her face will turn red and her eyes will start pouring. And it's a simple experiment, it's a simple, it's not the end of her life. It is, and she has 1 more year to, prove herself, and there's so many things. But the fact that she cannot take a failure was so obvious. So like that, when you come to research, you have to be being besides being a mentor, I was like her counselor as well. So I feel like Indians do not have that kind of I don't know if it's a positive attitude or a negative attitude, but I've never seen that with Indian students, but I've seen that with many of the American students. But today she is a professor at Yale University, and she's doing very well. But on those days, I used to feel very bad. I used to think, why? See, I have gone through the same thing. When I did my first postdoc, when I was given the PCR machine and said, you do your own primers, you make the sequence and you make this gene, I was like, oh my God, I'm a loser. I don't know this, and I was very worried. But I didn't cry. I didn't think that was the end of my life. I was confident. I learned it, and I did. There are people who can think that they are losers if they cannot do a particular experiment. So you should right mind. You should have the confidence. You should not be pessimistic, and that is when it would lead. So even if you have the passion, even if you do hard work, if you see success, it is fine. But if you don't see success, it is still fine. There is something better coming up your way. That attitude should be there, because as I said, about 80% of the research that we do does not end up in a successful venture. So allow your passion to become your purpose, and then one day it will become your profession. So that is the way it should go. It should not, join. I got a job as a researcher, but I'm not interested in research, but I'm just here to do research. So that kind of thing is not going to work. You should have the inherent passion for research, and that's how you should move on. So if you want to be successful in this world, you have to follow your passion, not a paycheck. So don't look for the money. If you really want to be passionate about research, don't look at the money. You just look at your amount of happiness you get. So many people tell me, like when I was in the US, there were a lot of opportunities, in the house. That was when the software boom was there. So the postdoctoral fellows, I was I just from Japan. I went to US. I was a postdoctoral fellow, and the postdoctoral fellows were the least paid among all the educated people. PhD, you should remember that the postdoctoral researchers are the lowest paid in the US. So all my friends were, software professionals, with just undergrad. So they all used to tell me that, undergrad and you did your PhD, I mean, masters, you did your MPhil, you did your PhD, you worked in Italy, you worked in Germany, you worked in Japan. You come to us, just train you for 1 week and almost 6 times your salary. If you're getting paid like $3,000, $2,500 as a postdoc, you're getting like $8,000, $9,000 as a software. And you can work from home. You can keep working, go to your washing machine, do your laundry, go to the kitchen, do your food. It's very cool job. You will just there's so much of. But if you're looking into the money, you're only looking at money, then yeah, you will become a software engineer and earn tons of money. But will you be happy when I go see my cells in the morning? I'm happy when I wake up in the morning. I feel happy to go to work. I worked at the medical college of Wisconsin, so I was very happy every single day. That I was very happy. I'm happy to go to work. So that is what will push you. That is what is called a definition of this. If you wake up in the morning, if you feel okay to go to work, that is your passion to work. If you feel like, oh my God, why should I go to work? Then that is your profession. So that is the simple way of explaining passion and profession, I believe. So first step that is a good research question if you're thinking about passionate research. So it should be, these are all the different attributes to it. You have to be non-biased, you have to be answerable, the question should be relevant, it should be intriguing, it should be pertinent, and it should be focused. It should not be like, oh, okay, I'm going to, desalinate I'm just going on with, I'm going to desalinate the water, and then tomorrow you say, I'm going to extract this compound from this plant, then tomorrow you go and say, I'm going to remove the pollutants from the air. So that is not going to work. You have to be focused, you have to be non-biased, and you have to be answerable to the society, and your question should be pertinent and then the character of a good research questions, they have to be ethical, and they have to be when you do some research, okay, this results is going to make a change in somebody's life. So that is what is significant. And then clear, it has to be very clear. It cannot be very confusing or anything. You have to be very clear, and it has to be feasible, like doable. You cannot say like, okay, I'm going to make this flight which goes to Mars every day and comes back and drops me here. So that is my research question. Will there be a vehicle which takes me to Mars and brings me back every day? So if that is a question, if that's a research question, then is it feasible? No, at least not now, right? So these are all the characteristics of a very good research question. So now, what is good research and bad research? I'm saying if you have to be passionate about research, you have to be doing good research. So what is good research and bad research? So at least what is good research? So good research has only two components. One is good science and the other one is good ethics. All right. So good science, how do you contribute to good science? You should have a proper problem selection. You should choose the right research question or choose the right problem that we have seen in the past two slides. It has to be relevant. It has to be, you have to be answerable to the society. It has to be pertinent. It should be unbiased and all those different things. And you have to put real good, smart objectives. So these are my objectives. Even in, I see in your master's project or your BTech project, people are so ambitious. When you look at the objectives, they have like 10 objectives lined down. The duration of the project is 2 months. And the objectives are like 10 objectives. how is it possible to even do 10 objectives in 2 months? So keep it simple. Just have one objective. It's going to be, so it's research is not like an overnight thing that you can do. Even if it's a small component of a huge story, that would make sense. And follow proper methodology. You should know the methodology and then properly analyze. So that is good sign. You in this proper methodology and proper analysis will come all your sincerity, your integrity, your consistency. The first slide that we saw, all that will come in your proper methodology and proper analysis. So the next component is good ethics. So in the good ethics, you should have all these fair subject selection, risk benefit ratio, independent review, and informed consent. So all the ethical, I'm sure there would have been a number of talks on ethics and research ethics and all that. So all these have, I'm not going to elaborate. So all these have to be followed. So good science with a good combination of good ethics will actually form good research. So what is good research? Again, it has to be a systematic research. You have to be systematic in what you do, you know, write your grant, have proper applicable. You cannot say, oh, okay, I'm doing this, but the next time it is not coming. Most of the Korean work that you see, it won't be replicable, and then they'll retract the paper. So it cannot be something like that. Even so, that is a whole point of patenting or publishing. You know, if you have a result, anywhere in the world by anybody, it should be reproducible. So if it has not been, it cannot be done, then the research is false, the data is false. Now, this is one important aspect that I wanted to discuss. The men might think that this is irrelevant here, but I thought we have to bring it here. So both men and women, both girls and boys in their college days, they can be passionate about research. But are women allowed to be passionate is the question. So women have a lot of passion. They are good in singing, they could be good in drawing, they can be good in artistry, they can be good in instruments, so many. Each woman has a passion in herself. But how much of it is possible is a big question. Let's alone leave marriage, even it's before marriage or after marriage or whatever. How much is possible is a big question again, at least in the Indian scenario. Now, when a woman has research as a passion, how is it possible? What is the challenge? Again, so research needs a lot of many hours of time in the lab and reading and literature work and all those different things. How is it even possible to even balance between having a family and thinking of so many things and even doing the official job? So it is a great challenge, and they should be given the benefit of doubt. So women have to multitask in the going. So she has to multitask. There's no doubt about it, and they have been multitasking. I'm sure all the women in this group would agree that how they have to multitask. And so are they able to cope with all this stress, with all this? Where is the passion? Where did the passion for research go? There are n number of things on our mind. There are n number of things. It's not just research. It's not just your job. It is not your home. It is not your children. It has so many things. Are they able to cope? The results are not that much. So usually there are a lot of things that say women are very good in multitasking. Yes, I mean, I myself, I'm on the computer, I'm sending out an email, and something is going on. Somebody's asking me a question. In the cooker, in the stove, and so many things. We think we are good at multitasking, but actually they are not. Equally affected the speed and accuracy of task completion in both men. So there is a compromise equality all time, but there is definitely gender inequality, especially in terms of research also, because this is a picture that I got in WhatsApp some time ago, and it is very true. It's very true because women have to go through so many hurdles before they actually reach the end game, because they have to go through so many hurdles, so many challenges. Um, I do agree, but there are few men, very few, maybe 1% of the men who help equally with the women. But I think predominantly, mostly, it is the women who have to manage both the women who are able to balance both are the ones who are successful. I know a lot of people, I know a lot of women who are really good, who are really good in science, who have given up science for the sake of the family. And I know a lot of women who have lost the family because they are more inclined towards science, you know. So for women, it's another challenge. See, for men, it's much easier. It's just that whether I have the passion to do research or not. That's it. That's the end of the question. Whether I'm going to be, studying research articles, or I'm just going to be reading Times of India. That is the only difference they have. So whether they're going to have the passion or not. But for women, it is not that. It is very different. It is so many things. They have to compromise the passion. Even I know that a 40% of the women who are not doing research, but they're just doing mundane work, would have the desire, would have the passion to do research, but they have no more. Having passion is a different question, but just continuing it as a profession is another area. That because they are not able to do it because the research needs long hours in the lab, and it needs a lot of reading. Okay, when I go home, when I come home, okay, when I come home at 6 or 6:30, can I just take my laptop and say, oh, okay, I have to update myself on the recent research findings, and let me do that. And you guys, do your own. I cannot do that. No woman can do that. So I have to go and, get the dinner ready and take care of all the household chores and all that. By the time everything is over, it's 11 p.m. And where is the time to read about signal transduction or anything like that? So the time and the opportunity and the ability for us as women, it's very difficult to pursue research. So there is no comparison. So whatever passion you have, it's all compromised. And I've seen that happen among many researchers. Throughout my journey, I've seen not just in India, but all over the world. This is what it happens. But it is more in India, but less in other places. So the passion factor in women is lost at a very early stage. That is what I'm trying to tell here. So the very few people who can move on with their passion, it's because of their luck and because they have been at the right time, at the right place with the right person. So all that matters to follow your passion. So this is not only with research, but with any other passion that you may have. It is all a matter of gender, it is matter of age, it is matter of location, it is matter of where you live, and so many other things that matters. So who are I'm talking about passionate researchers and all that. So who are the real passionate researchers? I would like to discuss it. So there are so many passionate researchers if you look at the literature of science. So one is Dr. Barry Marshall. He's an internal medicine specialist from Australia. So he said that Helicobacter pylori, which is a bacteria, it can cause gastric diseases. He is the one who proved that these bacteria can cause ulcers. So when he initially said this, 6 times or more, his research finding was rejected. And then he did not stop there. What he did was he took this bacteria. He ingested this bacteria, and then he did an endoscopy, and then he developed the ulcer and other gastric diseases, and he proved to the world that bacteria can, because before that people said, oh, stomach is very acidic and bacteria cannot survive there, so they rejected his claim, and they said all kinds of things. But then, to prove his research, he performed this experiment on himself. So that is passionate research. That is, they don't care. So more than that, so he was awarded the Nobel Prize. And then you have the fourth person was he inserted a catheter to navigate his heart. So he inserted, so that is the procedure utilized today to look at the functioning of the heart and all that. So this procedure, he tried it on himself. So these were the researchers who were actually great passionate researchers, I would say. They just looked at the outcome. They wanted to help humanity, and they went on to do this. All the more if you look at Isaac Newton. So Isaac Newton is a great physicist, mathematician, is an astronomer. So nowadays, when people are saying, "Oh, okay, I'm working on, one particular compound or one particular thing," that's all. I don't know about anything else, but I'm a researcher. But that was not the case. Many of the researchers those days were they had so much knowledge over so many areas, and Isaac Newton was one among them. He was a physicist. He was an important person about working on calculus, a mathematician, an astronomer, and he was working on a lot of optics and so on. So he was moving it around to show that something about the optical nerves and about optics. And this is something that is unbelievable. How can a researcher be so passionate, so try to prove a particular theory to do something on himself? He was not. He didn't even receive a Nobel Prize. This was not done to get a Nobel Prize or anything, but just to understand a concept. To understand a concept, he can do something like this. And then there is this one of these great scientists I have a lot of admiration for, a lot of regard and respect for. So people call him crazy. Because he tested the polio vaccine on himself and on his family, and wanted to check if there are anti-polio were killed in millions. Any this is not his profession, but this is for so, and when someone asked him, like, well, why are you not patenting your thing, your vaccine? He said, could you patent? Could anyone patent the sun? The sun is there, right? So, like that, it is polio vaccine. I do not want to patent. He never asked for any money. He never got the right for it. Nothing. But and the worst part is he never even got a Nobel Prize for it, because people, I don't want to go into the politics of it, but there are a lot of versions of why he did not get the Nobel Prize. They said it was just an innovation, not a discovery, and all those kind of nonsense. But I feel he deserves more than a Nobel Prize, because he eradicated polio from the world, which is a great feat. And see how passionate he was to inject this, polio. And there is also this Daniel Carrion, and who also inoculated blood from. There was this Oroyo fever which was going on in Peru at that time, and people were dying in tons and tons. And these kind of researchers, so this Daniel Carrion also did not get any Nobel Prize or anything, but now there are a lot of institutes in Peru which is named after him. But so what? So they, at that point, they did not think, what will I get back? None of them thought about those. So if you look at this Salk, there is a institute at La Jolla, California, which is Salk Institute of Biological Sciences. So that is what is keeping his name. So from that institute, there are about 4 or 5 Nobel laureates who have emerged. So that is the victory of Salk. That is the victory of Salk, that I would say. So these people were so great. I'm just giving here like 2-3 examples. These guys are just dedicated their lives to great scientists. These experts have dedicated their lives. These are just few examples that I've given. There are so many people who have died by injecting themselves. There are scientists who have injected themselves with worms. There are scientists who have injected themselves with cocaine and so many things to check the the methodology or to derive at certain. And Daniel Carrion figured out so much from his disease, but he never authored a single scientific paper. This is what I would call as passionate. So these are all the different examples of which are awarded to self-experimental prize. Nobel Prize was not even instituted in many of them. Later on, posthumously or after they died, they were given Nobel Prizes, but they worked because they were, they were passionate towards research. And this Ernest Lawrence cyclotron and all, they were guys who strapped themselves to machines which was spinning at like crazy speeds. They had unbelievable research. And these are all the deaths from self-experimentation. People who tried cholera vaccine for clog and yellow fever and bubonic plague and many just died. They are all unsung heroes, or they're not paid for it, not nothing. So them were physicians, many of them were scientists, many of them were having different areas, but they all left their profession for research. So that is what I would call as passion for research. They never published their work. They never received any benefits. They never received any awards or honors. And in the end, many of them lost their lives in the event of finding out a solution for the problem. So these I would definitely call passionate researchers. So now where can I do passionate research? That is another question. So when you look into research, there are only 4, I think I'm running out of time. So I just finish in a couple of more minutes so that we have time for interactions. So where can I do passionate research? The one possibility is academia, one possibility is national labs, then industry and hospital. So these are the 4 options that you have to do research based on your nature you can do. But industry, you cannot be passionate because they will tell you, this is what we want, these compounds, you do this research and give us. So end of story. So they clearly set your goals. They tell you this is where you have to reach. So there's no question of passionate research in an industry. Hospital, again, it's very difficult for people to make physicians and surgeons understand passionate research because, again, for them, everything has to happen very soon. So again, it is very difficult, but there are a few passionate researchers in hospitals. So that leaves us with academia and national. Again, there are a lot of hurdles getting grants, and you have your teaching responsibilities. You have your donkey job like NBA, your other accreditation, NAC, so this work, that work. They'll dump you with work and work and work. And so where is the question of research? The research takes a backseat in academia, and then you only have the national. People who are associated with national laboratories are the most luckiest because they get full time to work on their research proposals. This is all with my experience, again, I'm telling you. So I have had experience with all these 4 different situations, and I understand from my experience that national labs are the best way to follow passionate research. You can do research in all the other 3, but when I say passionate research, this is the only place that you can do. So, so teamwork is very important. If you just have passion is not important. You should identify people who are passionate researchers around you and try to fit the puzzle properly. So that teamwork is very important. And research grants, of course, you need money. You cannot have your just ideas in your mind and then keep sitting and saying, okay, let me wait for an opportunity. You have to be smart enough to acquire research grants. And most important is the ethics. You have to be original, and never there should be no plagiarism. You don't have to be like another person. You don't have, just be original. If you look, there are some certain words which really get into my. So I am a member of various committees which scrutinize these applications with the projects and all those things. If you look at that, out of say 100 projects, 90 projects will say nano products, nano particles and gold nanoparticles. Again, green synthesis of a phyto compound. All these words are very, very, I mean, when you see that itself, you feel like just throwing or dumping the application. Because if you see 90 applications saying the same words, isolation of a green phyto compound from using silver nanoparticles and looking at some effect. And green synthesis, oh my God, what is this green synthesis? So you don't see another person and don't form your research question. You be original. Only original will survive. Remember that. Only original thing will. And think before you use animals. Unless it is absolutely necessary. Do not trouble animals. It is the worst thing that we can do. As long as you can, finish your research with your in vitro or any other methodology, I think you should go with that. Unless you really need to use animals, do not use animals. And then there is a lot of difference between fake and fact. So make sure, if you are a supervisor, make sure that results are replicable. Make sure that your student is doing the right thing. So when I told you I sent out 5 students from my lab, it is all because of this fake results. It is all because of fake results. So you should be responsible. You should be responsible for your acts. You cannot say, oh, my student did it. Tomorrow when you publish as a last author, you are responsible for all the results that is there in the paper. So you are responsible for everything that is going out from your lab. So you have to inculcate that confidence in your student that, okay, it is okay to not get results. It is okay to get these negative results. It is okay to get this, so that they don't have to act in front of you and suppress the fact. So this acting and facting is very important, and faking is very important. To figure out the fakers is very important. You should not be carried away. So, and you have to set an example. You have to set an example to the students. You be straightforward, you be truthful, you be sincere, and then the students will definitely follow you. Students are kids. They are just like babies. You have to train them. That is why you're called a supervisor. That is why you're called a guide. You have to be a guide to guide them in the right way. Don't guide them in the wrong way. So this is very, very important. And if you are faking your results, if you're not giving the facts, in a very short time, it is going to come out in the future. So like, ramen, there's one guy called Raman who made petrol out of leaves. So what happened now? It can go on for 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, that's it. And then every day, one day, everyone is going to know it's all a fake and it's not a fact. So it is very important, very crucial that way. And do it yourself. This is a very important thing I want to talk here. And so you can, what is outsourcing? You can outsource. You can outsource for one experiment. I see when I sit for these projects and when I sit for these reviews, project reviews and stuff like that, when you go to DSTD, so at the end of the day, when you see they have not done anything, they say, oh, we got this compound from this person, And then we gave it to this lab to do the GLC. Gave it to this lab to do the SEM, and we gave it to this lab to do. And you know, okay, what are you doing? Just coming and giving the results here? That is not research at all. So you have to do everything from the beginning. You have to do it yourself. If you don't have, so I don't expect every lab to have a scanning electron microscope. Okay, you don't get it outsourced. That is fine with me. But you cannot do every single experiment outside. And what is the point? Are you a dunzo guy or something that collecting all the results from all the labs and presenting it somewhere? So that is not research, but that is happening. It's a very pathetic situation that I see in many of the labs. See, I agree that, you know, in many colleges in outskirts of Tamil Nadu and all that, they don't have all the facilities. Send your student to a lab where they have all the facilities. Get it done. Let the student has to get hands-on experience. That is what is called research. You cannot send the compound, oh, I made this nanoparticle, send it to this lab and got the result, send it to that lab and got the result. So that is not research. Okay, so make sure the students, they do it themselves and stop outsourcing, except for high-end equipments like SM or any other equipment that might not be possible in your lab. All right. So with that, I would like to complete saying these are the 10 commandments of passionate researcher. So as guides, as supervisors, as you know, responsible researchers, show them good research, show them what is good research, how to perform good research. We have to set an example to students. Be straightforward and sincere. Work on the table. You know, update yourself and all that. So you be an example to students so that students get inspired. To improve your language, it is very important to communicate. When you go to a conference, when you meet with fellow researchers, it is very important. Language is a good way. So you might be good in science, but to bring it out to the world, you have to be able to communicate. So that communication is very important. And it is not very difficult. You know, improving your communication is not very difficult. If you're talking good science and if you're not talking good English, you're still okay. But if you're talking good English and you're talking nonsense in a thing, then again you're being loud. So a good combination is good science and good language. That is when the actual science reaches people. So improve your language and also try to improve the language of your students. And then meet the scientists, meet all the scientists that is possible. Like if you collaborating, you try to meet them, and you will be inspired when you see them. When you hear them, you feel very motivated. So meet the scientists, always be inspired, and you also inspire them in the sense, inspire the students, and attend conferences, which is very, very important. Conferences. Don't choose all those conferences which comes like just for the sake of filling up your CV. Don't choose conferences. Choose good conferences. Like the God conferences are the best. There are only 20 people, but they're all focused on the subject. And you should only choose those kind of conferences which really give an insight of what is going on, and you can learn a lot of things. And then network with the scientists. Networking is very, very important, because I just finished conducting a webinar last Thursday and Friday. I had like about 20 international researchers in the sense, real international researchers from Cambridge and all over the world, from the best institutes. So they're all my friends, which I have networked with all these years, for the past 30 years. So it didn't come overnight. So when you're much earlier in your career, try to start establishing contacts and network with people, and update your knowledge, constantly update your knowledge. Okay. And then read a lot of research publication. If you're working on, say, atherosclerosis, you should know absolutely all the work that is being done in atherosclerosis and what's going on and all that. And I feel every person who is pursuing research should have a short tenure, at least a minimum of 3 months in a lab abroad. So it is a very different perspective. It is a very, very different perspective that will give you a lot of insight, experience, knowledge, and to see how things work in a different scenario. There will be a lot of messages for you to carry home back. So travel abroad is very important. Now, DST, DBT, all those different funding agencies are giving. When I finished my PhD, we never had anything. Now, there is so many, I can't even number them. There are Indo-UK, Indo-US, and then Indo-German, Indo-France, Indo-Turkey, you name it, you have to apply for all those and try to get a mentor, communicate with people, establish connections and travel and go work and see. Then you will see a lot of difference between the kind of research that is going on here and the kind of research that is going on there. And last but not the least, be ethical. You have some kind of a commitment to research, and you should be conscious. Consciousness is very important. Am I doing the wrong thing? That should always be in your mind. Just getting a PhD degree is not the criteria. You should have some kind of consciousness to whatever you're doing. So this is the last line I would always think, and this is the first time I'm telling you guys, research is like making a new movie. It's like making a movie. Who's the producer? And they are the funding agencies. Who's the director? That is you. The researcher is the director. The research scholars and the techies in your lab are the cast and crew. What are the outcome? You get publications, and whether is it a box office or not, whether you're able to commercialize it or you're able to do a tech transfer. So in this, you see, how does a movie become popular? How does a movie become a hit? That is totally dependent on the director. It is totally dependent. See, the producer is willing to give you money. Okay, the producer, you will get money, you will get a grant. That's not a question. You can apply and get a grant. So producer will give you money, and you can find cast and crew, research scholars and techies. The director is the crucial. He's the whole thing behind. He's a pillar behind the whole movie. If the director screws up, the whole movie is gone. So it all depends on the director. So, and that is you. So if you are passionate, if you are not treating it as a profession, and you will definitely hit a box office. That is for sure. And the director again has an important job to choose the correct cast and crew. He has to choose. He has to choose the correct cast. Who is going to be the actor? If he chooses an actor who cannot act, then his whole thing is again going to be a problem. But if he chooses the right cast and right crew, which is again the research scholar, when you choose a research scholar, you should really figure out if he has the passion. If he's not very smart, it's okay. It's the job of the director to make him smart, right? So it is whether he is disciplined, whether he is truthful, whether he is willing to work hard, and whether he has the passion. It is a job of the director to figure out the cast and crew. And when you do this, automatically you will get very good publications and patents. And it can even be a box office. And I also think here, if you see a movie, not all movies are becoming, in the sense that they'll say, oh, it's a good movie, it's a really good movie. It may not be a great hit, there are many movies like that, but they still make good publications, right? So like, even if you don't commercialize your product, you can still have good publications and patents. So don't look for the outcome. Don't look for, I want to get money, I want to get tech transfer and all that. But tomorrow, we are talking about good movies that we have seen like 100 years back, 20 years back, 80 years back. Nobody talks about the rubbish movies, right? So like that, our research, our name has to be known. If people have to talk about our research, if people have to cite our work tomorrow, then the best way is to have some passion, and don't think research as a profession, but have some passion in your mind and pursue, and there will be no dearth for good research in our country. And so with this, I would like to thank you guys for your patience. I think I've just exceeded by 10 minutes or 50 minutes, I'm not sure. So thank you so much. And I would look forward for any interactions. Bye.
Thank you.
Nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The session is open for discussion right now.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Your session alone is not passionate. You are also a very passionate person, ma'am. Your presentation itself, it seems like that, ma'am. Thank you for your wonderful session, ma'am. My question is, what can be the daily routine for a good researcher, ma'am?
So, again, I would like to tell you this. When we were working as postdocs, I would tell you, when I was working as postdoc in the US, so I had a child at home to take care of. So I would go at 9. I would plan my work so that I finish by 5 o'clock, and then I come back at 5 o'clock. Right? So 9 to 5, I used to work, and I never used to go on Saturdays. But Saturdays, if I had to go for some reason, if I had some work, I would go, but I would not go like Saturday like that. But I had 2 more other Indian guys who were in my same lab. They would be there from 7. They would come because they have no work. They would come at 7 or 8, and then they would be there till 9 o'clock. But half the time they would be looking at in the internet, and they would, be cricket, everything they'll do. They'll also be doing work, but they'll also do this. But for me, when I go to 9 to 5, all the time I used to be standing, work. That's all I used to do. But those guys, they will go out for smoke. They'll come back. They'll go to the cafeteria. They'll come back, and then they would, watch cricket and all that. When people look at it, they would say, "Oh, Anu doesn't come on Saturdays. Anu leaves at 5 and all that." But they would be there till 9:30, 10, and they come on Saturdays. So when people look at it, they would think that this girl is going on time. These guys are staying. But at the end of the day, when we all applied for green card based on extraordinary scientific ability, I was the one who got it, and they didn't get it. So hard work always pays. That is end of story. The passion that you have is just for you, not for others. That is another part of story. You don't have to act passionate for others. It should be inherent in you, and that is what will drive you to wherever you are today. All right. And I followed my boss. Luckily, anywhere they never said that you have to be here at 7, you have to leave only at 7. None of my bosses were like that. That's a stupid thing that I saw. So the output is important. What work we used to have lab meetings, and then in the lab meetings, what happens? That's all mattered. When I came back to India, when I joined as a professor, I followed the same protocol. I told my research scholars, I don't care about your work schedule. You guys just come anytime, go anytime, you work any hours. It's free for you. You take your own schedule. But then that didn't work here in India. When I said you come anytime you come, you go anytime you want, Indian kids did not understand this concept. So I didn't see the students in the research lab at all. They just came at their own pace. So when I had lab meetings, ultimately there was no results. I was like, what did you guys do the whole week? One whole month, nothing. So then I realized that one size fits all is not true. So for Indian scenario, you have to behave in a different way. So then I said, okay, guys, you have to work from 9 to 5. And then, it kind of works. So that's how it works. So there's no schedule. It depends on your students, and it depends on you, how you can manage both and take it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Madam, I'm Shankar speaking. Hello.
Hello.
Madam, I'm Shankar speaking.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
Thank you for a nice presentation, madam.
Thanks.
Actually, suppose some research project I'm having, and I'm getting. I have to complete within suppose 2 years or 3 years. The given time period, suppose within the time we are not able to complete, maybe due to late funding, maybe due to unskilled, that means the negligence of the scholars or the research JRFs who are working. So what is the solution? Is it possible to extend or output? What is the solution?
So this was actually, we had the same scenario in a couple of cases in our Anna University itself. We had this floods which happened 2 years back. and whole city was paralyzed for 1 month. Like there was floods all over the city, and so our labs and all got there was no electricity, so everything was shut down, and we lost all our samples, all the freezer, everything was. We had to start from the scratch. So there, it took again almost 6 to 8 months for us to start again and do everything. So for 1 year, 1.5 years, we didn't have any results. So when our project got over, we explained the situation to DST and DBT, and we told them that so we got an extension. So what they would do if they funded for 3 years, they've given you money. The 4th year they would give you an extension, and but they will not pay you any money. So but you will have time to complete your project. So that is how we, so extension without commitment, that's what they will give you. So you can extend your project, but you will not get any money. So that time you can finish your work and you can submit it.
And madam, output is must, madam.
Output is?
Output, suppose we are not getting a proper output.
You can report it. You can report it. See, when your output is not good, you can either troubleshoot. You can talk to other scientists. That is what I am saying. Networking is very important. See people who are working in the same area, call them, talk to them, go to their lab, see how they are doing it. There are so many ways you can rectify your problem. If you are above all that, if you are not able to do it, or you're not able to rectify, then you can explain saying we did this experiment, but this is the result we expected, but this is what we got. You can send the report to them. That's no problem at all.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Welcome.
Do any other participants have questions?
Hello.
Hello,
ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, ma'am. This is Srimoni Mandal from English department. Thank you for such an inspiring message through your presentation. Ma'am, I have one question. Ma'am, in the slide, you have mentioned the 10 commandments for passionate research. There was one point, network with scientists. So how can we improve a good or establish a good network with the researchers, established researchers?
Okay. So your question, there are 1 million ways to establish network with scientists. I'll tell you how. One, first of all, which scientist you want to establish. So read all his papers, all his publications, and then you have to first decide why you want to network. Do you want to invite him over for a talk, or you want to go to his lab, or you want him to come and give a lecture? So what is the goal of your networking? You should understand. All right. And then how do you do it? You can as I told you, there are many opportunities, unbelievable opportunities. Now you have the Wellcome Trust, you have the Indo-UK, you have the UKRI, you have the if you go to DST, you can see Indo-Croatia, all these Belfast. There are so many places, Indo-German, Indo-UK. There are so many joint call for proposals they are calling. So you can, and for PhD students, there are Swagata fellowships, Humboldt fellowships. There are so many opportunities. You just keep your eyes open and look at all these opportunities. So when you get that, if it is, say, for example, in Germany, whatever area of research you're interested, you search in Germany, like which labs are working on that particular area, and you can contact them by email. Supposing you want to work with in Germany, you contact at least say 20 professors, out of which 10 professors will reply to you. Out of the 10, you at least 2 will be positive. Out of the 2 you apply, you will get 1. So that is how you have to network. Number 2, when you go to conferences, you talk to them. You listen when you listen to the lecture, then go back and talk to them and say you're interested in their area and establish a contact. Or you can establish contact through emails or through common friends, seniors, juniors, like that. That is the way to go about it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions? I think there are no more. Okay, thank you all. Thank you so much for listening to me patiently. I thank the organizing staff of KSR College for giving me this great opportunity. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Shanmugha, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I was just seeing for whether ma'am is there or not. Okay, sir. We can continue with the second session. We will have a half an hour, sir, and then you
Hello.
can start the session, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.